Picture this. You are standing quietly at the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, the salty breeze gently lifting the heavy burdens of your modern day. Before you lies a secret rarely spoken of in the bustling chronicles of conquerors and kings. The profound, almost sacred silence hidden within the great walls of the Ancient Library of Alexandria. Outside, the great harbor of the city is a roaring symphony of merchants, shouting sailors, and the rhythmic clashing of oars, a chaotic world entirely obsessed with endless movement and trade. But the moment you imagine stepping across this majestic threshold, the loud noise of the outside world simply vanishes, replaced by a deep, enveloping peace. The sudden quiet washes over your tired mind, a physical release of tension that travels slowly from your shoulders all the way down to your feet. Or it is a unique signal from antiquity, a forgotten frequency of tranquility that our loud modern world has long lost. Are you ready to leave the noise behind, let go of today, and walk into the most peaceful sanctuary the ancient world ever built? Before we begin our gentle journey into this relaxing historical documentary, if you enjoy finding peace in the forgotten corners of the past, consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. And please comment below to let me know where you are resting tonight. I find it incredible that we are falling asleep to history together from different parts of the world, connected across time by our shared need for quiet reflection. Now, let us leave the present moment entirely behind. Settle into wherever you are resting. Allow your body to sink deeply into the surface beneath you. Notice the weight of your own existence, supported and safe. Take a slow, deep breath in, imagining the crisp, unpolluted air of the ancient Mediterranean filling your lungs. Hold it for just a heartbeat. And exhale slowly, letting out all the lingering stress, the deadlines, the worries, and the endless noise of your day. Breathe in again, drawing in the calm energy of the setting sun. Breathe out, releasing the tension in your jaw, letting your shoulders drop, allowing your hands to rest softly. You are no longer bound by the ticking of the clock. You have all the time in the world. Imagine, if you will, the sensation of slipping off your shoes. You are standing barefoot on the grand, sun-baked paving stones of a massive courtyard in Ptolemaic Egypt. The stones still hold the gentle, comforting warmth of the afternoon sun. In with every slow step you take, you can feel that grounded warmth radiating up through the soles of your feet, anchoring you to the earth, anchoring you to this exact moment in time. There is no need to rush. There is nowhere else you need to be. Just walk with me. We are approaching the royal precinct of the city, the famed Bruchaon. The sky above is a vast, uninterrupted canopy of deepening blue, untouched by the artificial lights of the future. The air is warm and dry, carrying the faint, soothing scent of sea salt mingling with the aroma of crushed myrrh from distant temples. As we slowly approach the entrance of the Great Library, the immense scale of the architecture comes into view, yet it does not overwhelm you. Instead, it feels protective. Great columns of pale marble rise gracefully into the sky, their surfaces smooth and cool to the touch. Reach out your hand and imagine running your fingertips along the ancient stone. It is incredibly smooth, polished by the passage of time and the gentle touch of countless scholars who have walked this exact path before you. The stone is cool against your skin, providing a soothing contrast to the warm Egyptian air. This tactile sensation, the cool marble and the warm breeze, is the beginning of our ancient world ASMR experience, designed to quiet your thoughts and soothe your spirit. We pause before the massive, towering wooden doors of the library's outer gates. They are crafted from heavy, dark cedarwood imported from the mountains of Lebanon. Even from here, you can smell the rich, earthy, and calming fragrance of the ancient timber. It is a scent that speaks of endurance, of stillness, of things meant to last forever. Slowly, smoothly, the heavy doors begin to open, they do not creak. They swing inward with a low, resonant, and deeply satisfying hum of perfectly balanced bronze hinges. As you step through the doorway and into the grand vestibule, you leave the blinding glare of the Egyptian sun behind. You enter a world of soft, diffused light and profound shadow. The transition is gentle on your eyes. Shafts of late afternoon sunlight slant through high, narrow windows, illuminating millions of tiny dust motes that dance lazily in the golden beams. The air inside is noticeably cooler, a refreshing embrace that instantly calms your nervous system. Listen closely. The roar of the harbor is gone. The shouting of the merchants is gone. As the massive cedarwood doors close softly behind you, sealing out the outside world, a thick velvet-like blanket of silence descends. It is not an empty silence, but a rich, textured quietness. You can hear the faint, echoing sound of your own slow footsteps on the polished mosaic floor. Click, clack, click. Each step sends a gentle vibration through the vast, open space, a rhythmic sound that helps you fall asleep to history. This is a sanctuary built for the mind, a place where the chaotic rush of survival gives way to the peaceful luxury of contemplation. In this space, no one will demand your attention. No one will ask you to perform, to produce, or to hurry. You are entirely free to simply be a silent observer in the greatest house of knowledge ever constructed. As we walk deeper into the entrance hall, notice the intricate details of the space around you. The walls are lined with smooth alabaster, glowing with a soft, internal light. Tall stands made of dark bronze hold large bowls of fresh water, their surfaces perfectly still like dark mirrors, reflecting the arched ceilings above. Occasionally, a single drop of water falls from an ornamental fountain in the corner. Plink. The sound is clear, musical, and incredibly soothing. It ripples through the quiet air, a metronome for your breathing. Breathe in the atmosphere. The scent of the sea is gone now, replaced by the faint, dry aroma of antiquity. It is the smell of parchment, of aged papyrus, of dry ink and quiet dust. It is the scent of 1,000 sleeping memories waiting patiently in the dark. You feel a profound sense of safety here. The thick walls protect you from the elements, from the noise, and from the passage of time itself. There is a beautiful irony in this library. It was built by kings who conquered the world. Yet inside these walls, the only conquest is that of understanding, a quiet, peaceful endeavor that requires nothing but stillness. As you continue your slow, deliberate walk down the long, shadowed corridor leading toward the main archives, let your mind drift. Let the rhythmic sound of your footsteps, the cool touch of the marble, and the perfect, undisturbed quiet of this ancient haven rock you gently toward a state of complete and utter relaxation. The journey has just begun, and the night is young. There is nothing to do but listen, breathe, and let the ancient world embrace you. As we leave the grand vestibule behind, the heavy silence of the entrance hall gently gives way to the subtle, living acoustics of the inner corridors. We are now walking deep into the heart of the Mausion, the sacred temple of the Muses, which houses this legendary repository of human thought. The path ahead is a vast, breathtaking corridor of polished white marble, stretching so far into the distance that its end dissolves into a soft, hazy twilight. Take a moment to simply look down at the floor beneath your feet. It is a masterpiece of ancient geometry, a mosaic of muted earth tones, deep terracotta, pale cream, and charcoal gray, all fitted together with impossible precision. The stones are cool and flawlessly smooth. With every slow, deliberate step you take, you can feel the grounded, solid history beneath you. Step by step, breath by breath. There is absolutely no need to hurry. The scholars of Ptolemaic Egypt understood that true wisdom cannot be rushed, or it requires a still mind, a patient heart, and the luxury of quiet hours. Let your own mind adopt this ancient rhythm. Let go of the modern urgency that tells you to move faster, to consume more, to constantly be at the finish line. Here, in the dimming light of the ancient world, the journey itself is the only thing that matters. To your left and your right, towering columns line the walkway. They are carved in the severe, elegant Doric style, their vertical fluting drawing your eyes upward toward the high, vaulted ceilings. These pillars are massive, standing like silent, protective giants guarding the realm of dreams and memories. Imagine running your hand along the curved surface of one of these columns. You can feel the faint, rhythmic grooves carved by the stonemasons thousands of years ago. The stone is cold, solid, and completely unmoving. It has stood here through passing storms, shifting dynasties, and the turning of centuries, entirely undisturbed. Allow that feeling of immense stability to transfer into your own body. You are safe here. You are anchored. As the afternoon sun continues its slow descent toward the western horizon, the quality of light inside the corridor begins to change. The bright golden beams that once danced in the vestibule have now softened into a rich amber glow. This warm light spills through the high colonnades, casting long, peaceful shadows across the marble floor. Watch how the light slowly creeps across the stone, moving by mere fractions of an inch, a silent clock measuring the quiet passage of a forgotten afternoon. The contrast between the warm amber light and the cool, deepening blue shadows creates a visual lullaby, heavying your eyelids, inviting you to simply rest and observe. As we walk, you might notice the statues standing quietly in the shallow niches between the great columns. These are the silent guardians of the library, the sculpted figures of poets, mathematicians, astronomers, and philosophers who shaped the ancient mind. Here stands Homer, his sightless eyes gazing into eternity. Over there is Euclid, holding a bronze compass. They are carved from pale, unpainted marble, their forms draped in heavy, flowing robes of stone. In the fading light, they almost seem to breathe, their still presence adding to the profound sense of companionship in this empty hall. You are completely alone, yet surrounded by the greatest minds that ever lived. They demand nothing of you. They are simply resting, just as you are resting now. Listen to the empty space. It is not a dead silence, but a deeply comforting, ambient quiet. Faint sounds drift through the long corridors, softened and rounded by the vast architecture. Somewhere, far down a branching hallway, there is the slow, rhythmic dripping of a clepsydra, an ancient water clock used by the astronomers to measure the hours of the night. Drip. A long pause. Drip. Another long pause. It is a slow, steady heartbeat made of water, counting down the remnants of the day, lulling you deeper into a state of total relaxation. Every now and then, a gentle breeze finds its way into the corridor from the outer courtyard gardens. It carries with it the faint, sweet scent of blooming jasmine and the dry, earthy aroma of the desert edge. The breeze rustles softly past the marble columns, a low, whispering sigh that brushes against your skin like soft silk. It cools your face, a gentle reminder of the vast, peaceful world outside these walls, a world that is slowly winding down, preparing for the restorative embrace of the night. Occasionally, the quiet is punctuated by the incredibly soft sound of footsteps. A solitary scholar, dressed in a simple tunic of unbleached linen, passes us by. He moves with a slow, meditative grace, his head bowed in quiet thought, holding a single, tightly rolled scroll against his chest. As he walks, the rough linen of his garments makes a faint, soothing swish. Swish, swish. It is a delicate, papery sound that blends perfectly with the ambient hush of the corridor. He does not look up. He does not break the silence. He simply fades into the amber shadows, Yes, a fleeting ghost of intellect returning to the archives. We continue our slow procession down the center of the hall. The air here is noticeably thicker, carrying the distinct, intoxicating fragrance of the library's core. It is the scent of old wood, specifically the fragrant cedar used to build the shelving, mingling with the dry, dusty smell of ancient papyrus and the faint tang of iron gall ink. It is an olfactory embrace, a smell that instantly lowers your heart rate and signals to your brain that it is time to wind down. Think of the smell of your favorite old bookstore, but magnified 100 times, aged for centuries, and purified by the dry Egyptian air. As you breathe in this scent, let your shoulders drop another fraction of an inch. Let your jaw unclench. There are no screens here. There are no notifications, no alarms, no urgent messages waiting for your reply. The people who built this place believed that the highest form of human existence was contemplation. They built these massive, echoing halls not to intimidate, but to provide a sanctuary where the mind could wander freely, untethered from the brutal realities of survival. By walking these halls in your mind, you are partaking in that ancient luxury. You are claiming your own right to peace, your own right to simply exist without producing or achieving. The corridor is gradually narrowing now, leading us toward a massive arched doorway at the very end of the hall. The amber light of the setting sun is fading, replaced by the deepening twilight. The shadows grow longer, merging together to form a soft, comforting blanket of darkness along the edges of the room. The transition from day to dusk is almost complete, and with it, your own transition from wakefulness to deep, restorative rest. We are approaching the great inner sanctum, the legendary archives where the scrolls of antiquity are kept. The grand doorway before us is flanked by two massive bronze braziers. They are unlit now, waiting patiently for the night keepers to bring the fire. Beyond the archway lies the heart of the library, a labyrinth of knowledge waiting to be explored. But there is no rush to enter. We will stand here for a moment, on the threshold between the grand corridors and the intimate archives, allowing the profound stillness to wash over us one last time. Take another slow, deep breath. Fill your lungs with the cool, scented air of the ancient world. Exhale all remaining tension. The marble beneath your feet is solid. The columns around you are steadfast. The quiet is absolute. You are perfectly safe, perfectly calm, and completely ready to step into the fragrant, papery darkness of the great archives. The world outside has faded away, and only the gentle, rhythmic pulse of history remains. We step through the great arched doorway, leaving the vast, echoing marble corridors behind us, and slowly enter the very heart of the Ancient Library of Alexandria. The transition is profound and immediate. The acoustics of the space shift dramatically. The bright, sharp echoes of our footsteps on the stone floors soften into a muted, velvety thud. The high, vaulted ceilings of the main archive room are designed to capture and swallow sound, creating an atmosphere of absolute, almost reverent stillness, while you have crossed the threshold into the great sanctuary of human memory. Let your eyes adjust to the dim, warm light. Let your breathing slow down to match the deep, resting pulse of this incredible room. You have arrived, and there is nowhere else you need to go. Stand still for a moment and close your eyes. Before you even begin to look around, let your other senses map the room. The very first thing that embraces you is the rich, complex, and deeply comforting scent of the archives. It is an aroma that instantly grounds your wandering mind. It is the heavy, woody perfume of Lebanese cedar. The walls of this massive room are entirely lined, from the floor all the way up to the shadowed ceiling, with grand wooden shelving units built entirely from this fragrant timber. The ancient architects chose cedar not just for its beauty, but because its natural oils act as a gentle, invisible guardian, repelling insects and protecting the fragile treasures resting within. Breathe it in. take a long, slow breath through your nose. Notice the warm, spicy notes of the wood, mingled with the dry, earthy scent of ancient dust, and the incredibly faint, sweet aroma of dried river reeds. Exhale slowly, letting that ancient fragrance wash away the stale, recycled air of the modern world. Now, open your eyes and look at the walls around you. They are a masterpiece of ancient organization. The cedar walls are divided into thousands upon thousands of small, square wooden niches, neatly arranged in endless symmetrical rows. The Greeks called these small wooden pigeonholes the nidi, which beautifully translates to nests. And resting peacefully within these countless wooden nests are the great scrolls of antiquity. There are no books here, no rigid spines or heavy leather covers like we know today. Instead, there is a vast ocean of rolled papyrus, millions of tightly coiled cylinders stacked together, sleeping side by side in the quiet dark. Look at the sheer scale of it all. Wall after wall, row after row, extending further than the eye can clearly see in the amber twilight. It is said that at its peak, this room held over 500,000 scrolls. The entirety of the known world's wisdom, its poetry, its mathematics, its star charts, and its dreams, all resting quietly in these wooden nests. In our modern age, we are constantly bombarded by an endless, weightless stream of digital information that screams at us from glowing glass screens, demanding our immediate attention, exhausting our minds, and making us feel as though we are always falling behind. But here, in the ancient world, knowledge is completely different. It is physical. It has weight. It has a scent. It has boundaries. It does not interrupt you. It simply waits, with infinite patience, for you to seek it out. Feel the immense comfort in that patience. You do not have to read a single word tonight. Simply being surrounded by this quiet, slumbering wisdom is enough to bring a deep, heavy peace to your tired mind. Let us walk slowly down one of the narrow aisles between the towering, freestanding wooden shelves. The floor here is covered in thick, woven mats of dried palm fronds, which cushion our steps and add a faint, satisfying crunch to our slow walk. Crunch, pause, crunch, pause. It is a slow, steady rhythm that encourages your heart rate to drop. Reach out your hand as we walk past the shelves. Imagine the incredibly soothing sensation of lightly running your fingertips across the exposed ends of the resting scrolls. The texture is fascinating. Papyrus is not smooth like modern paper. It is born from the muddy, life-giving banks of the Nile River. Try to picture the slow, ancient process of its creation. The tall, green, triangular stalks of the papyrus plant were carefully harvested by hand under the warm Egyptian sun. The outer rind was peeled away, and the soft, white inner pith was sliced into thin, delicate strips. These strips were laid out side by side, slightly overlapping, and then another layer was placed on top at a right angle, and they were pressed together heavily, their natural plant juices acting as a glue, and then left to bake and dry in the golden sun. When you touch the edge of a scroll, you are touching the dried memory of the Nile. The surface is slightly rough, textured with the tiny, interwoven grid of those ancient plant fibers. It feels like a very delicate, completely dry autumn leaf, yet surprisingly strong and resilient. As your finger brushes against the rolled edges, it makes a sound. Listen closely. It is the softest, driest whisper imaginable. A faint, papery rustle, swish. It is a deeply satisfying, tactile ASMR experience that sends a gentle, warm tingle down the back of your neck and across your shoulders, releasing the tight knots of tension you have been carrying all day. Notice how some of the more valuable scrolls are protected. They are wrapped in soft, supple sleeves of dyed leather, tied neatly with thin parchment ribbons. Attached to the end of each rolled manuscript is a small rectangular tag made of wood or parchment, hanging by a delicate thread. The Greeks called these tags the syllaboi. They are the ancient equivalents of a book's spine, carefully inscribed with the title of the work and the name of the author in elegant, sweeping Greek letters, using jet black ink made from soot and water. As a faint, stray draft of air moves slowly down the long aisle, a few of these small tags begin to sway. They swing back and forth, ever so gently, brushing against the cedar wood of the shelves. Tick. A pause. Tick. It is a tiny wooden metronome. A gentle, random percussion that blends perfectly with the heavy silence of the room. Focus on that tiny sound. You'll let it draw your attention away from your worries. Tick. Let your thoughts become as light and empty as the space between the shelves. You are completely alone in this aisle. The towering walls of scrolls on either side of you rise up like a protective canyon. They block out the rest of the vast room, creating an intimate, secluded cocoon just for you. The amber light from the distant windows barely reaches this deep into the stacks, turning the air into a thick, soothing dusk. The shadows here are soft and welcoming, blurring the sharp edges of the world. There is a profound beauty in knowing that most of these scrolls will never be unrolled by your hands, and that is perfectly fine. We do not need to consume everything. We do not need to know everything. Sometimes, the most healing thing we can do is simply stand in the presence of something ancient and vast, and realize how small our daily anxieties truly are in the grand tapestry of time. The men and women who wrote these words, who carefully pressed the papyrus and mixed the black ink, lived and loved and worried thousands of years ago. Their loud, chaotic lives eventually quieted down, leaving only these silent, resting words. Your worries, too, will eventually quiet down. The stress of your day is temporary. It is fading already, melting into the cedar-scented shadows of this eternal library. Take another deep, slow breath. Fill your chest completely, feeling your ribs expand. Hold the quiet air inside you for a moment, and let it go. A long, slow sigh that physically pushes your shoulders down. Let your jaw drop slightly. Let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Your body is heavy, safe, and comfortable. We will stay here in the fragrant, dim aisles for a while longer. There is absolutely no reason to move on until you are ready. Let the scent of cedar, the dry whisper of papyrus, and the gentle ticking of the parchment tags rock your mind into a state of profound, undisturbed tranquility. The ancient world is holding you now, keeping you safe in its quietest, most sacred room, while the sun slowly continues its journey toward the dark, restful night. As we gently pull ourselves away from the towering, cedar-scented canyons of the main archives, we continue our slow, peaceful walk deeper into the library's heart. The thick palm mats beneath our feet continue to muffle our footsteps, turning every movement into a soft, rhythmic whisper that seems to say, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." The amber light of the late afternoon is fading further now, turning the vast spaces of the library into a beautiful, hazy dreamscape of deep blues and rich, warm browns. We are moving slowly toward a smaller, more intimate room adjoining the Great Hall. From within this room, a new, incredibly soothing sound begins to reach our ears. It is not the grand, echoing silence of the marble corridors, nor the dry rustle of the papyrus stacks. It is a methodical, hypnotic rhythm, a quiet wooden percussion that repeats with infinite patience. Listen carefully as we approach the arched doorway. You can hear a faint slide, a soft pause, and then a gentle, satisfying clack of wood against wood. Slide. Pause. Clack. It is the sound of order. The sound of chaos being gently, quietly put to rest. Step through the archway and into the catalog room. This is the nervous system of the Ancient Library, the place where all the world's knowledge is organized and given a home. The air here feels even heavier, completely undisturbed by the winds of the outside world. It smells faintly of warm beeswax, of old pine, and of the familiar, comforting dust of the archives. In the center of this softly lit room stands a vast array of unique, sloping wooden desks and hundreds of small, intricate pigeonholes. This is the realm of the Ptolemaics, the great monumental catalog created by the poet and scholar Ptolemaic. Today, we simply type a word into a glass screen and instantly receive millions of answers, a process so fast and overwhelming that it often leaves our minds feeling scattered and exhausted. But the Ptolemaics is entirely physical. It is deliberate. It requires time, touch, and absolute concentration. To organize the hundreds of thousands of scrolls, Ptolemaic and his librarians did not use a glowing database. They used small, beautifully carved wooden tablets coated in a thin layer of smooth, dark beeswax. Let your eyes focus on the corner of the room, where a solitary, elderly librarian is quietly working at his sloping desk. He is a man who has spent his entire life in the hushed, shadowed halls of this sanctuary. He is entirely unhurried. He is a master of the slow, methodical work of memory. Watch his slow, deliberate movements. He reaches out with a weathered hand and picks up one of the small wooden tablets. His fingers trace the edges of the wood, feeling the smooth, familiar grain. In his other hand, now he holds a slender bronze stylus. He does not write with ink on these tablets. He gently carves into the soft, yielding surface of the beeswax. Listen to the sound it makes. As the sharp point of the bronze stylus glides through the wax, it creates a deeply satisfying, incredibly faint scratching sound. Scritch. A tiny pause. Scritch. It is a precise, miniature sound that draws your complete attention, pulling your mind away from the massive, overwhelming worries of your own life and shrinking your focus down to this single, quiet action. The wax yields perfectly to the metal, offering just enough resistance to make the work feel grounded and real. He is copying the title of a newly arrived scroll, noting its author, its origin, and the exact shelf where it will sleep for the next 1,000 years. He breathes slowly, his chest rising and falling beneath his unbleached linen tunic. With every breath he takes, try to align your own breathing. Inhale as he brings the stylus to the wax. Exhale completely as he finishes the line. When he is done, he sets the stylus down on the wooden desk. A soft, muffled tap. He picks up the finished tablet and turns toward the massive wall of pigeonholes behind him. He runs his fingertips over the intricate wooden grid, searching for the exact right place for this piece of knowledge. He finds the slot. He slides the wooden tablet in. Slide. And as it hits the back of the wooden niche, it makes that wonderful, solid sound. Clack, slide, clack. It is the sound of completion, the sound of a task being perfectly finished and put away. Think of the thoughts swirling in your own mind right now. The undone tasks, the unresolved conversations, the endless lists of tomorrow. Imagine taking each of those thoughts, writing them down on a small wooden tablet, and gently, firmly sliding them into a dark, safe slot in the wall. Slide. Clack. They are filed away. You do not need to hold on to them anymore. The library will keep them safe for you until the morning. For now, your mind can be completely empty, completely at rest. As you stand in the dimming light of the catalog room, you begin to notice another sound beneath the rhythmic clicking of the wooden tablets. It is a sound so soft, so delicate, that you have to be completely still to hear it. It is the sound of human voices, but entirely stripped of their urgency and volume. There are other scholars in the room, working in pairs in the shadowy corners. They are communicating with one another. Sigh, but in this sacred space, speaking aloud is almost a violation of the peace. So, they whisper. They speak in the softest, breathiest tones of ancient Greek. You cannot understand the words they are saying, and that is a profound relief. Your brain does not have to work to translate or interpret their meaning. You do not have to form an opinion or prepare a response. You can simply let the pure texture of the sound wash over you. The ancient Greek language is full of soft, sweeping vowels and gentle, hissing consonants. It sounds like the wind moving through dry leaves. Sh, s, alpha, omega. The syllables blend together, rising and falling in a completely natural, organic melody. It is the ultimate white noise. A soft, continuous murmur that creates a protective blanket of sound around you. This gentle whispering masks the harsh silence that sometimes keeps us awake, replacing it with the comforting presence of quiet companionship. You are not alone in the dark. You are surrounded by quiet, focused souls who are perfectly content to share this peaceful space with you. Listen to the overlapping layers of sound. The deep, heavy quiet of the ancient architecture. The faint, rhythmic slide and clack of the wooden tablets being filed away. The tiny, scratching scritch of the bronze stylus in the soft beeswax. And the breathy, melodic whispering of the scholars hidden in the amber shadows. All of these tiny, beautiful sounds work together in perfect harmony. They are an ancient, acoustic lullaby designed by time itself to soothe the weary traveler. Let the sounds wash over your skin. Let them sink into your tired muscles, and let them massage the tension out of your forehead and smooth away the worry lines around your eyes. The light in the catalog room has now shifted from warm amber to a deep, velvety violet. The day is truly ending. The shadows are stretching out, covering the sloping desks and the walls of wooden niches, blending everything together into a soft, indistinct darkness. The ancient librarian finishes with his last tablet. He sets it into the wall. Slide, clack. He lets out a long, slow breath, a sigh of quiet satisfaction at a day's work peacefully completed. You too have completed your day's work. You have carried your burdens far enough. It is time to set them down. Let your head sink deeper into your pillow. Let your breathing become perfectly even, perfectly slow, matching the quiet, fading rhythm of the ancient catalog room. There's nothing left to sort. There is nothing left to file. There is only the beautiful, hushed dark, the faint smell of beeswax, and the distant, fading memory of a gentle, whispering voice. We leave the catalog room behind. The faint, comforting scent of beeswax and the rhythmic clicking of the wooden tablets gently fading into the distance. We step back into the main corridor, moving ever so slowly toward the vast reading rooms of the Mausion. The light has shifted again. The golden amber of the late afternoon is gone entirely, replaced by the soft, deep twilight blue of early evening. The air is cooler now, carrying a quiet, heavy stillness that settles over your shoulders like a weighted blanket. We are approaching one of the grand exedrae, the beautiful, semicircular alcoves built specifically for reading and deep contemplation. The architecture itself is designed to cradle the human mind. The curved walls wrap around the space, creating a protective embrace of solid stone. Carved into the marble are wide, smooth benches, offering a place to sit, to lean back, and to lose oneself in the vast ocean of ancient thought. Pause for a moment at the entrance of this reading room. Look at the scene before you. In our modern lives, we are conditioned to believe that reading and working must be done in a state of high alert. We sit before glowing screens with a dozen open tabs, our attention fractured into 100 tiny, exhausting pieces. We constantly switch from one task to another, our eyes darting, our fingers tapping, our breathing shallow and tight. We demand that our brains process an endless, overlapping stream of noise, and then we wonder why we cannot sleep when the day is done. But look at the scholars of Hellenistic Alexandria in this quiet, shadowy room. They offer us a completely different way to exist, a way that is incredibly natural and deeply restful. There are only a few figures remaining in the reading room, their forms reduced to soft silhouettes against the fading twilight of the high windows. They are perfectly still. They are not rushing. They are not multitasking, not rushing. They are not multitasking. They are engaged in the profound, forgotten art of single-minded focus. To read a scroll in the ancient world is not a passive activity. It is a full physical commitment. You cannot scroll with one finger while looking away, and you cannot hold a papyrus roll in one hand and do something else with the other. Let your gaze settle on one particular scholar sitting near a narrow window, trying to catch the very last silvery light of the evening sky. He holds a long, thick cylinder of papyrus. Watch how he reads. To reveal the text, he must hold the scroll with both hands. His right hand gently unrolls the fresh papyrus to reveal a new column of beautiful dark Greek lettering. At the exact same time, his left hand must slowly, carefully roll up the portion he has just finished reading. It is a continuous, balanced movement. Unroll, read, roll, unroll, read, roll. It requires his entire presence. His mind is tethered completely to the physical object in his hands. Listen to the sound this movement makes in the heavy silence of the room. It is a dry, crisp, incredibly satisfying sound. As the rough woven fibers of the papyrus slide against themselves, they create a soft, continuous crackle, crinkle, swish, crinkle. It is a textured, papery rustle that travels slowly through the quiet air. Imagine that sound sweeping through your own mind, gently brushing away the scattered, anxious thoughts of your day. With every slow, deliberate turn of the scholar's hands, let go of another worry. Crinkle, let go of the email you did not send. Swish, let go of the conversation you wish you had handled differently. Crinkle, none of it matters here. You are anchored in the quiet rhythm of the scroll. You are safe in the single-minded focus of the ancient world. The scholar pauses. He has found a passage that speaks to him, an equation of geometry or a line of poetry that requires a deeper kind of attention. He gently rests the scroll on his lap. He reaches out toward a small wooden table beside him. On it sits a simple, shallow inkwell made of dark bronze and a handful of carefully sharpened calamus pens, crafted from the thick reeds that grow along the muddy banks of the Nile. The ink he uses is not the chemical liquid of our modern pens. It is ancient carbon ink, mixed by hand from fine soot, water, and sticky gum, Arabic derived from the sap of acacia trees. It has a distinct, earthy smell, a faint aroma of wood smoke and damp earth that mingles beautifully with the dry scent of the papyrus. He picks up a fresh reed pen. He dips the precisely cut nib into the dark inkwell. There is a tiny, wet sound, a soft liquid tap as the reed touches the bronze. He brings the pen to a small blank piece of parchment resting on his knee. He begins to write. The silence of the room is immediately deepened by the sound of his writing. The stiff, natural fibers of the reed pen dragging across the slightly rough surface of the parchment creates a completely mesmerizing sound. It is a slow, rhythmic scratching. Scrape, pause, scrape, scrape. Focus entirely on that sound. Scrape, scrape. It is not an irritating noise, it is deeply soothing. It is the sound of human thought being translated into physical reality, one slow, deliberate stroke at a time. It is a lullaby of concentration. Notice how slow the writing must be. The reed pen must be dipped into the inkwell repeatedly, forcing the scholar to pause, to breathe, to think about the next word before it is formed. There is no backspace, or there is no deleting. There is only the mindful, intentional creation of each letter. Let your own breathing fall into the rhythm of the writer. Inhale slowly as he dips the pen into the quiet inkwell. Exhale completely, a long, slow release of air as you listen to the gentle scratching of the reed across the page. Scrape, scrape. Inhale the stillness. Exhale the tension. The muscles in your face are softening. The tight lines across your forehead are melting away. Your jaw is loose. Your shoulders are sinking heavily into the surface beneath you. The rhythm of the ancient reading room has become your own internal rhythm. There is a profound sense of shared solitude in this space. The other scholars in the room are also reading, also writing, each wrapped in their own quiet cocoon of focus. They do not interact, but their shared silence creates a powerful feeling of community. It is the comforting presence of others without the heavy demand of social interaction. You can simply exist alongside them, sharing the peaceful dark, completely unbothered and completely unseen. Look toward the high, narrow window. The sky outside has turned from deep blue to the soft velvet black of true night. The final traces of daylight have vanished from the marble ledges. In the modern world, the disappearance of the sun means very little. We simply flip a switch and flood our rooms with artificial, harsh light, forcing our exhausted bodies to keep producing, to keep moving long past the natural hour of rest. But here, in Hellenistic Alexandria, the setting of the sun is a gentle, undeniable command from nature itself. The light is failing. The text on the papyrus is becoming too dim to read. The scholar does not fight the darkness. He does not strain his eyes or try to force another hour of work from his tired mind. He accepts the end of the day with absolute grace. Watch as he slowly, carefully rolls the scroll entirely closed. He ties it neatly with a thin leather cord. He wipes the tip of his reed pen on a scrap of cloth and sets it down beside the bronze inkwell. The scratching stops. The papery rustle stops. He leans back against the cool marble wall of the exedra. He closes his eyes. He is resting. His day's pursuit of knowledge is over, and he surrenders to the encroaching shadows. You too can surrender now. You have done enough today. You have thought enough. You have carried the weight of your world for long enough. It is time to roll up the scroll of your own thoughts. Tie it off. Set it down. The reading room is almost entirely dark now, a space of pure, heavy shadows and thick, comforting silence. The cool night air begins to drift through the open archways, carrying the faintest hint of the sea. The library is settling into its nocturnal slumber. Allow yourself to settle with it. Let the quiet darkness wash over you, smoothing out the rough edges of your consciousness, carrying you gently down, deeper and deeper, into the peaceful, dreamless quiet of the ancient world. The solitary scholar we were watching has silently gathered his things. He slowly rises from the smooth marble bench, his unbleached linen robes making one final soft rustle that echoes briefly against the curved walls and then fades into nothingness. He walks away, his bare footsteps padding softly against the woven palm mats until they are completely swallowed by the vast cavernous depths of the library. Now it is just you. You are entirely alone in the great exedra, the grand reading room, but you are not lonely. There is a profound difference between isolation and solitude. Here, in the quiet aftermath of a day dedicated to deep thought, you are experiencing the absolute luxury of pure, undisturbed solitude. The space around you is changing. The deep, heavy violet of the twilight is finally yielding to the true, ink-black canvas of the night sky. And as the darkness deepens, the atmosphere in the room grows noticeably heavier, richer, and more settling. The thousands of tiny dust motes that were suspended and dancing in the golden afternoon light have finally stopped their movement. They are drifting down, completely invisible in the dark, settling softly onto the marble floors, onto the empty wooden desks, onto the sleeping, rolled papyrus. Everything is coming to rest. Allow your own thoughts to mirror this settling dust. Let the busy, swirling anxieties of your day lose their momentum. Watch them slowly drift downward, losing their sharp shapes, losing their frantic energy, until they come to a complete and perfectly peaceful halt. Through the high, arched window, a new kind of light begins to enter the reading room. It is the pale, silvery, almost liquid glow of the Mediterranean moon. It is not the demanding, hot light of the sun, nor the harsh, artificial glare of the modern world that forces your eyes to stay open. It is a cool, gentle illumination that does not ask you to wake up. It only asks you to rest. Watch as a single, soft beam of moonlight touches the edge of the stone windowsill. It creeps forward, moving with agonizing, beautiful slowness. It spills over the edge and begins its quiet, deliberate journey across the polished mosaic floor. As the moonlight travels, it creates shadows. Vast, stretching pools of darkness that grow behind the great marble columns and beneath the curved stone benches. In our modern lives, we are often taught to fear the dark, to constantly seek out the light, to keep our minds and our homes brightly illuminated at all hours of the night. But here, in this ancient sanctuary of knowledge, the shadows are a profound blessing. They are a soft, protective blanket that the library pulls over its treasures to keep them safe while they sleep. They blur the sharp edges of the room, like they soften the hard lines of the carved stone. They make it impossible to see the intricate details, and in doing so, they give your tired eyes absolute permission to stop looking. This is the very essence of calm history to sleep to. It is the comforting realization that the past is not just a collection of loud battles, fallen empires, and dramatic, world-changing events. It is also made of millions upon millions of quiet, undocumented nights exactly like this one. Nights where the air cooled, the moon rose, and people simply closed their tired eyes and let the world spin without them. You are participating in that exact same ancient ritual. You are sharing this exact patch of moonlight with the ghosts of forgotten philosophers who sat in this very spot, leaned their heavy heads back against the cool marble, and surrendered gracefully to the night. Feel the physical presence of the shadows around you. Imagine them as a tangible, velvety substance that is slowly filling the reading room, rising from the floor like a gentle, dark tide. Let it reach your ankles, instantly cooling your skin. Let it rise to your knees, relaxing the tight muscles in your legs. The dark, soothing tide of stillness washes over your torso, physically slowing your heartbeat, easing the rise and fall of your chest until your breathing is shallow and calm. It covers your shoulders, pressing them down into the mattress with a comforting, heavy weight. Finally, it washes over your face, smoothing your brow, relaxing your jaw, and sealing your eyelids shut with a soft, irresistible pressure. The temperature in the reading room is dropping slightly, just enough to make you deeply appreciate the comforting warmth of your own resting body. The cool night air carries a completely different scent now. The sharp, dry smell of the daytime papyrus has mellowed and faded into the background. It is replaced by the deeper, more resonant aroma of the ancient stone itself, cooling in the dark, mingled with the faint, sweet memory of the beeswax from the catalog room and the lingering earthy ghost of the carbon ink. It is a dark, complex, and incredibly grounding perfume that bypasses your thoughts and tells your ancient nervous system that the day is definitively over. Listen to the absolute silence of the empty room. It is so deep, so profound, that it almost has a sound of its own. It is a low, continuous hum of perfectly preserved emptiness. Earlier, the silence in the library was filled with the potential for work, the quiet anticipation of reading, analyzing, and writing. But now, that potential has been entirely fulfilled and put away. The silence is entirely hollow. It demands absolutely nothing from you. It expects nothing. It is a vast, empty vessel waiting patiently to hold your sleep. If you listen very closely, straining your ears gently against the quiet, you might hear the absolute faintest sound of the great building itself settling into the night. A microscopic, muted creak of ancient cedar wood, in the distant archives as it contracts ever so slightly in the cooler air. Creak. A tiny, almost imperceptible shifting of a marble joint as the massive stones release the heat of the day. It is the sound of the great library taking a long, slow breath, making itself comfortable for the long, quiet hours of darkness ahead. You are perfectly safe in these shadows. The great marble statues of the scholars that we passed earlier in the corridors are still standing guard in their niches. Though you cannot see them from here, bathed in darkness, you know they are there. Immovable, permanent. They are holding the immense weight of history so that you do not have to. You can let go of everything. The world outside these massive stone walls is entirely irrelevant right now. The wooden ships in the great harbor have dropped their heavy anchors into the dark water. The merchants have closed their doors. The bustling city of Alexandria is sleeping, and this library is the quietest, deepest, most peaceful core of that slumber. Take another very slow, deep breath. Draw the cool, a silver moonlight and the ancient silence deep into your lungs. Feel it chilling the back of your throat, bringing a crisp, clean energy that gently sweeps away the thick fog of your daily exhaustion. Hold it there for just a moment, letting the absolute stillness expand inside your chest, creating a hollow space of perfect peace. And exhale, a long, slow, complete release. Push all the stale air out of your body. Let your physical form sink even deeper into the softness beneath you. Notice how incredibly heavy your arms feel right now. They are like lead, perfectly relaxed, sinking down, utterly incapable of lifting a scroll or typing a message. Notice your legs, heavy and warm, paralyzed by a comforting wave of relaxation. Your entire body is anchored heavily to the earth, pulled down by a gentle, loving, and irresistible gravity. There is absolutely no need to try to sleep. Sleep is not a task you can accomplish by force or by worry. It is simply what happens when you finally stop trying to stay awake. And here, in the dim, echoing shadows of the ancient reading room, there is absolutely no reason to stay awake. There is nothing left to see in the dark. There is nothing left to do. The scrolls are rolled. The ink is dry. The thoughts are finished. We will sit here together in the dark for a little while longer. We will watch the slow, imperceptible movement of the moonlight as it crawls millimeters at a time across the stone floor. We will listen to the hollow, comforting hum of the ancient silence. We will let the heavy shadows do their gentle work, wrapping us entirely in a cocoon of perfect, uninterrupted peace, not preparing our minds and our resting bodies for the final, gentle transition out into the cool, fragrant night air. It is time to leave the heavy, enclosing shadows of the great reading room. The solid marble walls have done their work. They have quieted your mind, settled your racing thoughts, and wrapped you in a thick blanket of protective darkness. But the ancient scholars knew that the human spirit cannot rest entirely in enclosed spaces. We are creatures of the earth, and true, deep restoration requires a connection to the open air. Slowly, without any sudden movements, imagine rising from your resting place. Your limbs feel wonderfully heavy, relaxed, and entirely free of pain. You move with a slow, fluid grace toward a towering open archway at the far side of the exedra. This archway is completely open to the night, and a magnificent frame carved from pale stone that looks out onto the legendary inner courtyard of the Mausion. As you step over the smooth threshold, the transition is instantaneous and completely refreshing. You are leaving the dry, dusty, cedar-scented air of the archives behind, stepping out under the vast, unbroken dome of the ancient Egyptian sky. Take a deep, slow breath through your nose. The air here is completely different. It is wonderfully cool, carrying the humid, life-giving moisture of the nearby sea and the distant, unseen Nile. It washes over your face like a gentle, invisible wave, instantly lowering the temperature of your skin and soothing any lingering heat or tension behind your eyes. Breathe in the fragrance of the night garden. During the day, under the punishing glare of the sun, these plants hold their scents tightly closed. But now, in the safety of the dark, they open up and offer their perfume to the cooling wind. You can smell the rich, intoxicating sweetness of night-blooming jasmine, a heavy, floral scent that seems to hang in the air like a delicate mist. Beneath that sweetness is the clean, green aroma of damp earth, of soil that has just been freshly watered by the temple gardeners. It is the smell of growth, of life quietly repairing itself in the dark. In our modern sealed rooms, we breathe recycled air, filtered and processed until it has no life left in it. But here, the air is a living, breathing entity. It fills your lungs with a pure, organic energy that tells your body it is completely safe to let go and heal. Look down at your feet. The grand, our geometric mosaics of the interior corridors have given way to large, uneven paving stones made of pale limestone. Between the cracks of these stones, soft, cool moss grows thickly. Imagine the sensation of stepping off the stone and onto a patch of this soft, damp moss. It yields gently beneath your weight, a plush, natural carpet that grounds you instantly to the earth. You are no longer floating in a sea of abstract thoughts or modern worries. You are physically here, anchored to the cool ground of an ancient garden, feeling the slow, steady pulse of the sleeping world beneath your feet. As you walk slowly along the curving stone path, a new layer of sound emerges from the quiet darkness. It is a sound so universally calming that human beings have spent centuries trying to capture and recreate it. It is the sound of water. In the very center of this grand courtyard sits a magnificent, tiered fountain carved from dark, smooth basalt. The water that flows through it has traveled for miles through hidden terracotta pipes, a quiet miracle of ancient engineering designed specifically to bring this deeply soothing sound to the resting scholars. Listen to the water. It does not crash or roar. It flows with an endless, gentle patience. The water rises smoothly to the top of the dark stone basin and spills over the perfectly leveled edge. It falls into the pool below with a continuous, melodic splashing. Plop. Trickle. Shh. It is a liquid lullaby. Focus all of your remaining attention on that sound. Listen to the thousands of tiny individual water droplets striking the surface of the pool, blending together into a rich, continuous stream of white noise. In the modern world, when the silence of our bedrooms becomes too loud with our own anxieties, we often turn to digital machines to play the recorded sounds of rain or flowing streams. We do this because our deep, biological programming recognizes the sound of moving water as a signal of safety, of abundance, and of peace. But tonight, you do not need a machine. You have stepped directly into the source. You are standing in the very garden that defined peace for the greatest minds of antiquity. Let the continuous, gentle splashing of the fountain wash away the last remaining fragments of your stress. Imagine the cool water flowing over your tired thoughts, smoothing them out just as it smooths the dark basalt stones over centuries of steady contact. A gentle breeze begins to move through the courtyard. It originates from the dark and expansive waters of the Mediterranean Sea, carrying a faint, clean trace of salt. As the breeze sweeps through the garden, it encounters a grove of tall date palms standing quietly along the perimeter walls. Listen to the sound the wind makes as it moves through the large, dry fronds of the palm trees. It is a soft, sweeping rustle. Swish. Sigh. It sounds remarkably like a gentle, distant rain shower. This is the ultimate symphony of nature, ASMR. The melodic, rhythmic trickling of the fountain in the center. The soft, sweeping sigh of the wind through the palm leaves above. And the low, continuous hum of the crickets hiding in the damp moss below. They all weave together to create a dense, acoustic blanket that perfectly insulates you from the demands of waking life. There are no sirens here. There are no sudden alarms, no rushing cars, and no urgent voices. There is only the wind, the water, and the quiet earth. We find a beautifully carved stone bench situated beneath the sweeping canopy of a large ancient fig tree, just a few steps away from the fountain. The stone has absorbed the coolness of the night, and as you sit down, it provides a firm, supportive embrace for your tired back. Lean your head back against the smooth bark of the tree trunk. Close your eyes. You do not even need to look at the garden anymore. You can simply feel it. Notice how incredibly heavy your jaw has become. Let it drop open slightly. Allow your tongue to rest loosely in the bottom of your mouth. Feel the cool night breeze stroke your forehead, gently ironing out the tiny, unconscious wrinkles of concentration you have held all day. With every exhalation, imagine a heavy, warm weight settling deeper into your chest, pulling you down into a state of profound, absolute relaxation. The ancient scholars who walked these paths understood that the mind is a delicate instrument. They knew it could not be forced to produce endless wisdom without being given the time to rest and reset. They built this garden not just for beauty, but as a necessary medicine for the exhausted intellect. By sitting here now, you are taking that exact same medicine. You are allowing your brain to completely shut down its defensive walls. You are permitting yourself to exist as nothing more than a quiet observer in a peaceful garden, surrounded by the healing sounds of water and wind. The night is deepening, wrapping the courtyard in a soft velvet darkness that feels entirely protective. Even the splashing of the fountain seems to grow slightly slower, slightly quieter, matching the slowing rhythm of your own heartbeat. The rustling of the palm leaves becomes a distant, comforting whisper. The scent of jasmine grows heavier, pulling you gently down toward sleep. We will remain here on this stone bench, perfectly safe beneath the fig tree, letting the ancient night sing its liquid lullaby. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing left to do. Simply breathe the cool air, listen to the falling water, and let the gentle, ancient world carry you effortlessly away. As you remain seated on the cool, solid stone bench beneath the ancient fig tree, the gentle, rhythmic splashing of the courtyard fountain continues its endless lullaby in the background. You have spent time looking down at the damp moss, or looking around at the shadowed columns, and listening to the wind in the palm fronds. Now, with a slow, deliberate movement, I invite you to gently tilt your head backward. Let the sturdy, rough bark of the tree trunk support the entire weight of your head. There is no need to hold yourself up anymore. Let your neck muscles completely release their exhausted grip. And as you lean back, slowly open your heavy eyes to the vast, unobstructed expanse of the ancient Egyptian sky. In our modern world, we have almost entirely lost the night. We live in cities that glow with a restless, artificial brilliance, casting an orange haze into the atmosphere that constantly reflects our own nervous energy back down upon us. We have built a world so bright that it obscures the universe, trapping us beneath a low, suffocating ceiling of our own making. Because we cannot see the vastness of the cosmos, we are easily tricked into believing that our own immediate world is everything. We are tricked into believing that our daily anxieties, our unfinished tasks, and our passing failures are monumental. But tonight, in the pure, unpolluted darkness of Hellenistic Alexandria, that artificial ceiling simply does not exist. The sky above you is not a flat, empty black canvas. It is a terrifyingly beautiful, overwhelmingly deep ocean of light. It is a spectacle of such immense scale that it instantly silences the chattering voice in your mind. Millions upon millions of stars pierce the velvet darkness, burning with a cold, clear, and steady intensity. They do not twinkle faintly through layers of smog. They blaze with an ancient, piercing clarity. Without the glare of streetlights or glowing screens, your eyes can finally dilate completely, drinking in the magnificent, sweeping arch of the Milky Way. It stretches across the entire dome of the heavens like a river of spilled milk, a dense, glowing fog of distant suns that looks close enough to touch. Take a long, slow breath in, filling your lungs with the cool night air as you stare upward into infinity. Hold that breath for a moment, letting the sheer, incomprehensible scale of the universe wash over you. And as you exhale slowly, feel a profound, wonderful sense of physical shrinking. Feel your own ego, your sense of self-importance, and all of your personal worries dissolving into the vastness of the night. There is a psychological term for this feeling. It is called ego dissolution. When confronted with something so massive and so entirely indifferent to our existence, the tight, anxious knot of our personal identity simply unravels. It is an incredible relief to realize how wonderfully insignificant we truly are. The stars do not know your name. They do not care about your deadlines. They do not judge your mistakes. They have been burning in that exact same pattern for billions of years before you were born, and they will continue to burn for billions of years after you are gone. Your life, with all of its noise and stress, is nothing more than a microscopic spark in the endless corridor of time. Let that thought comfort you. Let it lift the crushing weight of responsibility from your tired shoulders. You do not have to hold the world together. All of the universe is holding itself together just fine without your intervention. This is the very essence of calm history to sleep to. It is the practice of finding peace in our own fleeting nature. The great astronomers of the Mausion understood this perfectly. The library was not just a resting place for papyrus scrolls. It was a sanctuary for those who watched the sky. Men like Hipparchus and Aristarchus stood on the high, flat roofs of these very buildings, using simple bronze instruments to track the slow, majestic turning of the celestial sphere. Imagine them up there right now, standing silently on the shadowy rooftops above the courtyard. They are not rushing. They cannot force the stars to move any faster than their ancient, predetermined pace. They simply wait. They observe. They map the constellations with infinite patience. Ian the Great Bear, the Hunter, the Swan. They draw imaginary lines between the points of light, creating order and story out of the overwhelming chaos of the cosmos. Think about the profound comfort they found in the predictability of the night sky. Down in the city of Alexandria, empires were rising and falling. Kings were scheming, and merchants were losing their fortunes. The human world was a constant, exhausting storm of unpredictability and chaos. But when the astronomers climbed the stairs to the roof and looked up, they found a realm of perfect, unwavering order. The stars always rose in the east. They always set in the west. The planets moved in their complex but mathematically perfect dances. The sky was a reliable, eternal clockwork that never failed, never rushed, and never apologized. Let the perfect order of the ancient sky bring order to your own mind. As you look up at the glittering expanse, imagine that each tiny point of light represents one of your scattered thoughts. Instead of letting them swarm around your head like a cloud of confused insects, mentally pin them to the dark canvas of the sky. Organize them into constellations, give them a shape, give them a name, and then simply leave them up there, suspended millions of miles away from your resting body. They are beautiful from a distance, but they are completely powerless to touch you down here on the earth. The wind gently rustles the palm fronds above you once again. Swish. It is a soft, sweeping sound that reminds you of your physical body, safely anchored to the heavy stone bench. The trickling of the basalt fountain continues its endless, liquid song. Trickle, plop. These gentle, earthly sounds tether you to the present moment, keeping you perfectly balanced between the immense, floating vastness of the cosmos and the solid, comforting reality of the sleeping garden. Your eyelids are growing incredibly heavy. The muscles around your eyes are tired from taking in the massive scale of the universe. It requires effort to keep them open now. Every time you blink, you leave your eyes closed for just a fraction of a second longer. The darkness behind your eyelids is just as vast, just as peaceful as the starry sky above. You have traveled across time to find this exact moment of peace. You have walked through the echoing marble corridors, smelled the ancient cedar and papyrus, listened to the rhythmic scratching of the reed pens, and finally stepped out into the cool, dark embrace of the courtyard garden. You have looked up at the eternal stars and realized that it is entirely safe to let go. You are participating in a ritual of rest that is as old as humanity itself. Every single person who has ever lived beneath this sky has eventually had to lie down, close their eyes, and surrender to the night. It is a shared, universal vulnerability that connects you to every scholar, every king, and every nameless citizen of the ancient world. It is the most natural thing you can possibly do. Do not fight the heaviness any longer. Let your head rest heavily against the tree. Let your hands fall limply into your lap. The night air is cool and sweet. The water is falling. The stars are keeping their slow, silent watch over the sleeping city. The ancient world has completely accepted you into its quiet, protective shadows. The journey outward into the massive universe is complete. It is almost time to turn inward, to leave the waking world behind entirely, and to fall asleep to history in the deepest, most quiet corner of the human imagination. The vast, glittering ocean of the night sky has done its quiet, humbling work. It has absorbed your worries and dissolved the heavy, anxious edges of your day into the infinite dark. As you sit perfectly still on the stone bench beneath the ancient fig tree, you begin to notice a subtle change in the air. The night is deepening, and with it, a gentle, descending chill has settled over the courtyard garden. It is not a biting cold, but a crisp, refreshing coolness that signals a transition. It is the earth slowly releasing the last lingering memories of the sun's heat. This cool air gently brushes against your skin, a soft, physical reminder that while the stars belong to the vast and freezing cosmos, you belong to the warm, sheltered earth. It is time to seek the comforting enclosure of the interior walls once again. It is time to prepare for the final, deepest stage of rest. Move with agonizing slowness. There is absolutely no reason to hurry. Slowly lift your head from the rough, supportive bark of the tree. Feel the incredibly pleasant, heavy sensation in your limbs as you gently rise from the stone bench. Your body feels wonderfully weighted, as if the gravity of the ancient world is pulling you closer, holding you safer than ever before. With every slow, deliberate step you take across the moss-filled paving stones, you leave another tiny fragment of your waking consciousness behind in the garden. The continuous liquid lullaby of the basalt fountain begins to fade slightly as you walk back toward the grand archway, retreating from the open sky and stepping back over the smooth marble threshold into the sheltered corridors of the great library. As you pass through the archway, the acoustics of the world shift instantly. The expansive, airy sounds of the night wind and the rustling palm fronds are replaced by a thick, velvety quiet. The air inside the corridor is noticeably warmer, still holding onto the deeply baked heat of the daytime stones. It is a protective, insulating warmth that wraps around your shoulders like a heavy, familiar blanket. Look down the long, cavernous stretch of the marble hallway. It is no longer bathed in the silver, the ghostly light of the moon. It is wrapped in a profound, heavy darkness. But it is not a complete void. Far down the corridor, emerging slowly from the pitch-black shadows, there is a tiny, incredibly warm point of light. It is a soft, golden-orange glow, moving with a slow, rhythmic sway. It is one of the Night Keepers, the silent guardians of the Mausion, beginning their nightly ritual of bringing a gentle, controlled fire to the sleeping archives. In our modern evenings, we are aggressively assaulted by the harsh, blue-toned glare of artificial lights. Our screens, our overhead bulbs, and our street lamps emit a frantic, vibrating frequency that tricks our ancient biology into believing it is still the middle of the day. This artificial daylight forcefully suppresses our natural rhythms, keeping our minds wired and our bodies exhausted but unable to sleep. We fight a daily, losing battle against the unnatural brightness of our own making. But here, in the ancient world, the night is treated with the profound respect it deserves. The only light allowed in these sacred halls after sunset is the living, breathing, organic light of a naked flame. Watch as the night keeper slowly approaches. He is dressed in a simple, dark woolen cloak that sweeps silently across the stone floor. Swish, swish. He carries a small, shallow lamp made of perfectly fired terracotta clay. It fits perfectly in the palm of his weathered hand. The design is thousands of years old, shaped like a teardrop, with a small reservoir for the oil and a narrow spout for the wick. As he stops near one of the great marble columns to light another lamp resting on a bronze stand, listen to the incredibly delicate sounds of his work. He strikes a piece of hardened flint against an iron ring. Clink. A tiny bright spark leaps from the stone. Clink. Another spark. It catches the dry, charred edge of a flaxen wick. There is a microscopic, breathy sound as the fire takes hold. Shh. And then, a tiny, deeply satisfying sizzle as the flame meets the oil. The light blooms. It does not flash or glare. It simply blossoms outward, a soft, golden yellow aura that gently pushes the heavy shadows back just a few feet. Stare directly into that small, flickering flame. Notice how it dances. It is never entirely still. It dips and sways, breathing the unseen currents of air in the corridor, a tiny living entity performing a slow, so hypnotic dance just for you. Human beings have spent hundreds of thousands of years staring into the warm, golden glow of a nighttime fire. It is deeply encoded into our DNA. Long before we had walls or locks or glowing screens, the fire was our only absolute safety in the dark. It meant warmth. It meant community. It meant that the dangers of the night were kept at bay, and it was finally safe to close our eyes. When you look at the warm, flickering light of this ancient terracotta lamp, your brain instantly recognizes that ancient signal. It releases a cascade of soothing, heavy chemicals into your bloodstream. Your breathing slows. Your muscles relax. Your eyelids, already heavy from the garden, become almost impossible to keep open. The night keeper moves silently down the hall, lighting the lamps one by one, and leaving a trail of warm, golden beacons in his wake. We will walk slowly behind him, staying within the comforting pools of amber light. As the light from the lamps touches the marble walls, it transforms the architecture. The severe, cold perfection of the stone is completely softened. The golden glow paints the white marble in rich, warm tones of honey and apricot. The shadows cast by the great columns are no longer deep and intimidating. They are long, soft, and constantly shifting, swaying gently with the movement of the flames. The carved statues of the philosophers, previously hidden in the dark, are suddenly illuminated from below. The warm light dances across their marble faces, softening their stoic expressions, making them look incredibly peaceful, as if they, too, are enjoying the quiet warmth of the fire. I'll breathe in the distinct, intoxicating aroma of the corridor now. The dry scent of the papyrus and the ancient cedar wood is beautifully mingled with a new, heavier fragrance. It is the smell of burning olive oil. This is not the refined, odorless fuel of a modern machine. This is the thick, green-gold lifeblood of the Mediterranean. Imagine the ancient olive groves, the silver leaves shimmering in the hot sun, the heavy, ripe fruit being slowly pressed between massive stone wheels. The oil burning in these lamps carries the earthy, rich, slightly sweet smell of that harvest. It is a dense, grounding perfume that fills the air with the comforting scent of ancient agriculture, of human hands working in harmony with the earth. With every breath of this warm, fragrant air, feel yourself sinking deeper into a state of total lethargy. You're walking through a dreamscape of shifting golden light and soft, enveloping shadows. The rhythmic swish of the nightkeeper's cloak, the tiny, occasional pop of a burning wick, and the rich, earthy smell of the olive oil are all wrapping around you, a thick cocoon of sensory comfort that is entirely sealing you off from the waking world. Your mind is no longer processing complex thoughts. It is only capable of following the gentle, swaying movement of the flames. You do not need to think about tomorrow. You do not need to remember yesterday. You only need to exist right here, in this warm, golden corridor, surrounded by the quietest history ever recorded. The nightkeeper finally reaches the end of the hall. He turns into a smaller, narrower corridor leading to the private resting quarters of the scholars. These are small, perfectly quiet, secluded alcoves designed for one single purpose. He leaves a lamp burning softly on a stone shelf outside the doorway. The light spills gently onto a simple wooden bed, covered in a thick, unbleached linen mattress and a heavy woolen blanket. This is where your journey ends. This is your sanctuary. The stone walls here are incredibly thick, blocking out absolutely every sound from the outside world. The only thing you can hear is the slow, steady rhythm of your own breathing, echoing softly in the small, warm space. The only thing you can see is the incredibly soft, amber glow of the oil lamp, painting the ceiling with slow, sleepy, dancing shadows. You have reached the very center of the ancient world's quietest place. You are safe. You are warm. You are completely unburdened. The firelight is watching over you. He is standing guard against the dark, just as it has for thousands of years. Let your eyes slowly close. Let the golden light fade into a warm, comfortable darkness behind your eyelids. Let the heavy, sweet scent of the olive oil carry you down the final, gentle steps towards sleep. You stand at the quiet threshold of the small, secluded resting quarter. The nightkeeper, having gently placed the small terracotta lamp on the stone ledge just inside the room, has already turned away. His silent footsteps fade completely down the long, shadowed corridor, leaving you in absolute, undisturbed peace. You slowly step into the room. It is an intimate, perfectly proportioned space, a quiet cell carved deep within the massive stone architecture of the library. Reach out and push the heavy wooden door closed. It moves smoothly, heavily, and shuts with a deep, muffled thud that seems to finalize your separation from the waking world. You are entirely sealed off. The thick, ancient walls of the Maussion surround you now, creating a completely soundproof cocoon where no echo of the harbor, no whisper of the city, and no demand of tomorrow can possibly reach you. The air inside this small sanctuary is perfectly still. It holds the accumulated, comforting warmth of the stone, untouched by the shifting winds of the courtyard garden. Look at the simple, elegant bed waiting for you against the far wall. It is a sturdy frame crafted from dark, aged wood, strung tightly with thick ropes of woven palm fiber. Resting upon this frame is a thick mattress made of unbleached linen. As you walk slowly toward it, you can smell the incredible, soothing fragrance radiating from the bed itself. The mattress is not stuffed with synthetic materials, but with the dry, fragrant gifts of the earth. It is filled with soft river reeds, dried chamomile flowers, wild mint, and crushed thyme. Slowly, carefully, sit down on the edge of the bed. The woven ropes give way slightly under your weight, a soft, welcoming creak that sounds like a quiet greeting. Creak. The linen fabric of the mattress is cool and slightly textured against your skin. It is a profoundly honest material, woven by hand, carrying the faint, earthy scent of the fields. Take a deep breath in, drawing the scent of the chamomile and dried herbs deep into your lungs. It is a natural sedative, a botanical lullaby that has been used by tired humans for thousands of years to quiet the mind and invite sleep. Exhale slowly, or feeling a heavy, warm wave of relaxation travel down your spine. Now, it is time to lie down. Do this with the utmost slowness. Swing your legs up onto the bed, Let your back sink into the mattress. As your body weight settles, the dry reeds and herbs beneath you shift and compress, creating a wonderfully soft, organic rustling sound. Hush, crinkle. It is the sound of the earth shifting to accommodate your rest, a perfect, natural mold forming exactly around the contours of your tired body. Let us begin a final, gentle journey through your physical form, a grounding practice that the ancient philosophers understood well. Focus all of your fading attention on the soles of your feet. They have carried you through the marble corridors, over the stone mosaics, and across the damp moss of the garden. Now, release them completely, or let them fall outward. Feel the tension drain from your ankles, melting away into the linen sheets. Let this warm, heavy feeling of release travel slowly up your calves, relaxing the muscles around your knees. Your legs are becoming impossibly heavy, sinking deeper and deeper into the mattress. You could not lift them now, even if you tried. Allow this comforting paralysis to move up into your thighs and your hips. Feel your lower back pressing firmly against the bed, completely supported by the strong wooden frame beneath you. Your torso is heavy. With every slow, rhythmic breath you take, feel your chest rise and fall with an effortless, natural grace. Inhale the stillness. Exhale the exhaustion. Your heart rate has slowed to a deep, resting drumbeat, a quiet rhythm that perfectly matches the absolute silence of the room. So let the relaxation flow down your shoulders, unknotting the tight muscles in your neck. It pours down your arms, past your elbows, all the way to your wrists. Your hands rest loosely at your sides, your fingers curling inward naturally. They are completely empty. They do not need to hold a scroll, they do not need to wield a pen, and they do not need to grip the worries of your modern life. They are perfectly still. Finally, let this heavy, warm wave of peace wash over your head. Feel the back of your skull resting heavily on the soft linen pillow. Unclench your jaw. Let your lips part ever so slightly. Smooth away the tiny lines of concentration around your eyes and across your forehead. Your face is entirely completely relaxed, an expression of pure, untroubled serenity in the dim light. Open your heavy eyes just a fraction to look at the terracotta lamp on the stone ledge. In our modern society, we view sleep as a biological inconvenience, a frustrating pause in our endless cycle of productivity. We fight the darkness, trying to wring every last drop of action from our exhausted minds. But the ancient world viewed sleep differently. To the Greeks, sleep was a minor god, Hypnos, the gentle brother of death. Sleep was not a waste of time, it was a sacred, necessary surrender. It was the time when the gods whispered dreams into the minds of mortals, when the body repaired itself, and when the soul was allowed to wander freely, untethered from the heavy burdens of the physical world. By lying here now, completely relaxed, you are participating in that sacred surrender. You are honoring your own profound need to simply stop. The flame in the oil lamp is beginning to change. The night keeper only filled it with enough olive oil to last for this exact transition. The level of the golden oil has dropped low. The small flaxen wick is slowly beginning to starve. Watch as the bright yellow-orange teardrop of light begins to shrink. It flickers slightly, a gentle rhythmic pulsing that casts long, sweeping, incredibly soft shadows across the stone ceiling of your room. The shadows advance and retreat, a visual pendulum that mesmerizes your tired brain. As the flame grows smaller, the light in the room shifts from a warm amber to a deep, smoky copper, and finally to a faint, dusky red. The architecture around you loses its shape entirely, dissolving into a soft, comforting blur. The scent of the burning oil changes too. The rich, fatty aroma is replaced by the incredibly faint, dry smell of a smoking wick, a nostalgic campfire scent that perfectly signals the definitive end of the day. The flame gives one final, weak flicker, a tiny microscopic pop of sound, and then it is gone. The room plunges into complete, absolute darkness. It is not an empty, frightening dark. It is the incredibly rich, heavy, and protective darkness of the ancient archives. It is a darkness that holds millions of sleeping words, thousands of resting minds, and the quiet, enduring memory of a civilization that understood the profound value of stillness. You are completely unseen. You are completely safe. The Great Library of Alexandria surrounds you like a fortress of peace, its massive marble columns standing guard, its cedar shelves holding the wisdom of the ages, its enclosed gardens breathing the cool night air. The universe spins above the roof, the stars burning in their eternal silent patterns. But down here, in this tiny dark room, time has completely stopped. There is nothing left to hear but the slow, even rhythm of your own breath. In, out, in, out. It is the only sound in the ancient world. You are drifting now, floating away from the physical sensations of the bed, away from the smell of the herbs, away from the memory of the light. You are sinking down into a vast, quiet ocean of sleep, carried gently by the currents of history. Allow yourself to fall. There is no bottom to this peace. There is only an endless, comforting depth. As you finally let go of the waking world, surrendering entirely to the beautiful, heavy dark, know that you have traveled far and rested well. Then if this slow, quiet journey through the ancient past has brought you a moment of peace tonight, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a gentle like on this video, so we can continue to explore these quiet corners of history together. May your mind remain untroubled, may your rest be deep and restorative, and may you sleep peacefully through the ages. Good night.